Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp and Chance. On this episode, we are going to break down undisputed versus undisputed, Canelo versus Charlo, tomorrow night, Las Vegas. Guys, get ready. We're going to break it down. We're going to give you our predictions, this and so much more. So strap in and thank you for letting us into your ears. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to this special edition of Samp and Chance. Guys, we're here, man. Chance, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Can't complain. I am excited. We are on the eve of Canelo Charlo. Wow, man, here we are. It's fine. It's actually happening.
I'm excited. It's a big fight. Some good fights beneath it. A good undercard, T-Mobile Arena, and fight capital of the world. Can't wait. Let's do it.
Absolutely. So, staying in accordance with the show that we're about to break down, why don't we do it in rounds, man?
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
So round one, why don't we just kind of look at Charlo a little bit, break him down a little bit. What say you?
Let's do it.
Yeah, all right. Ding, ding. Let's get going. Wait, there we go. So Jermell Charlo, man, he's coming into this fight. He's taking a leap of 14 pounds, jumping from 154 to 168. Let's start with that, man. Do you think that's going to affect him at all, or do you think too much is being made of that?
I think it's going to affect him a little bit. He's skipping a whole division at 160, going right up to 168. Don't blame the guy. You're fighting arguably the most famous and popular boxer right now in Canelo. It's all about the money. This is prize fighting, so I don't knock him for doing that. Has he bitten off more than he can chew? I personally think so. We're going to find out. He is taller. He's 5'11". Canelo's only 5'8", but Canelo is the bigger man in stature. He's thicker. He's a little more muscular. Charlo's a little more lean. So we're going to see what's going to happen here, but I don't blame Charlo for taking the fight. Who wouldn't want to fight Canelo? Your thoughts?
Well, tail of the tape. Let's start with that. Canelo 59-2-2 with 39 knockout. He stands at 5'8", reach of 70 inches. He's had 472 total rounds. Charlo comes in at 35, 1-1 with 19 KOs. He stands 6 feet, actually. That's what I got. 5'11", 6 feet, 73-inch reach. He's 33 years old. Canelo will be 33 years old on the night of his fight. So happy birthday, Mr. Alvarez.
Yes.
256 bouts that he has. Now, Charlo, taller, longer, use of his physical attributes, less aggressive than his brother Mel. But he's good at slipping and ducking, right? And he uses his counter punch a lot. I'm surprised he doesn't work behind his jab a lot more, but you know, he's really big with the counter punches, but his footwork and stuff, that's where a lot of it kind of comes into play. I kind of look at Charlo in this, like, yeah, the jump in weight, 14 pounds, but I'm thinking, isn't he already training at like 170 or something, or 168? Anyways, I mean, they're not cutting weight when they're in camp or anything. Weight cuts are only in the last week. So most of their training is done at their, walk around weight anyway. So I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make for him. I guess we'll know when he's in the ring, when Canelo's pressuring him and what have you. But I think ultimately, I think he stands a chance here, man. The only drawback that he will face is he's never faced that time of power, at the lower weight classes. So facing a Canelo who is a powerhouse, like, I mean, my only concern for him would be like, okay, one of two things. He's going to come in and he's going to, use his footwork and things like that, and that's going to be in his favor. But the minute he takes one of his shots, does he change his game plan?
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's saying he's a better athlete. And sure, I guess technically Charlo is a better athlete, but he's not a better boxer. His hands aren't as heavy as Canelo, and he'll get backed up when he starts feeling the power of Canelo. Also, Canelo's hungry. He's got something to prove. Everybody's saying he's washed up and finished. He wants to make a statement. Undisputed is undisputed.
There you go, man. Right at the buzzer. All right. So why don't we talk about Canelo a little bit here, man?
Yeah.
Get that round going. What are your thoughts on Canelo going into this?
He's an all-time great. I hate to admit it. I've never been a huge Canelo fan. I mean, I've only ever cheered for him one time against Floyd Mayweather. Other than that, I always cheered against him. But you got to respect the man. He's not a doctor. Everybody says he's ducking. He's ducking. He's not ducking. You can't. I always say this all the time. You can't fight everybody that calls you out. Sometimes you have to wait your turn. He had to finish truly Triple G because everybody, including myself, He lost the first 2 fights. So he had to bring that to conclusion. He did. He fought Ryder. Ryder fought hard. Ryder's a tough, thick guy, right? Everybody's saying Canelo's lost a step, maybe half a step. But half a step that Canelo lost is still better than 99% of the fighters out there. Have him winning the fight. He's a legend, like Mexican legend, one of the best Mexican fighters of all time. Your thoughts?
Well, I can't disagree with anything that you said there at all. I mean, that sums it up really nicely. Here's what I'll say about Canelo. I mean, we know that he likes to walk people down, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that kind of, he's not one for footwork per se.
No, he's flat-footed. Yeah.
Right? He's a flat-footed guy. He likes to walk forward. He'll take a shot if he has to, but he'll get that power punch, that counter punch is what it's all about. I mean, we know that he's had problems against defensive fighters. I mean, we can look at, prime examples would be Lara and Mayweather, right at when he was fighting him at 154. Yeah, he beat Lara, but he gave him a run for his money. Mayweather is Mayweather. You nothing you can say, right?
Yeah.
Even today, I think Mayweather would have beaten him if, with the experience and everything, right?
Yeah.
Canelo said he wasn't experienced enough to fight Canelo. If he had the experience and fought Floyd when he did at that time, I think the outcome still would have been the same. This is his only weakness. He doesn't have what it's like, but he has what it takes. What I'm saying is he has difficulty with guys that have great defense and are able to kind of weave in and out, which Charlo can, right?
So one thing I'll say about Charlo though is when he gets a little bit careless in the fights. When he gets pissed off, he starts leaving his hands up. He starts throwing wild. Canelo stays calm and cool. Canelo knows how to pace himself through the championship rounds. Charlo puts the gas out, so I can see late stoppage here by Canelo.
Well, we'll get to that point in a minute, but yeah, ultimately, like I said, it's just like I say, it comes down to the defense. It's kind of what kind of defense will Charlo bring to the ring, because he has speed, he has power, he has the height advantage, he has the reach advantage. Everything is going in his favor. The man doesn't have to cut a single pound, I don't think, right? So a weight cut has nothing, will not even play a role in this at all. This is everything points to Canelo, obviously, because we don't know what Charlo is going to bring, right? We don't know what to expect from him.
He's only fought 5 times in like 3 years or whatever, 4 years. So
right. No, he hasn't, right? So, and Canelo's being busy. We get all that, right?
Canelo fights twice a year, every year.
Yeah, no, for sure. But he gassed out against Bivoli. He admitted it, the weight, and everything, what have you. But okay, so that's the end of that one. Why don't we kind of talk about? Look, why don't we just break it down and say what we think, man, and the prediction? Yeah, all right.
Let me get to the betting odds before we break it down. Get that out of the way. Canelo is a 4-1 favorite. You need to put $400 to make $100 on Canelo. $100 if you think Charlo's going to win, we'll pay you back $300. So Canelo is a heavy favorite. According to the Vegas odds makers, they saying most likely thing to happen was Canelo will win a decision. That's how the Vegas sharps see it. We'll see what happens. If you like Charlo, bet him because it's a great value.
Fair enough, man. There you go. Chances picks. All right, round number 3. We'll just, I guess, round number 3. Here we go. All right, here's it is, man. X factors for both guys. Everyone's talking about Canelo. He's starting to get washed up. He's starting to slow down. I guess in this fight, we'll see if any of that is true, because perhaps with the Ryder fight, you got to keep in mind the guy fights a lot. He's coming off some surgery at that time as well. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe the pressure of fighting in Guadalajara in front of all those fans as well kind of, put some pressure on him, and it wasn't the Canelo that everyone expected. I mean, again, I think because of the name John Ryder, people had an expected outcome for this fight, and it didn't happen that way. Like you said, Ryder's a brick house, man.
Oh, yeah, dude. Whew.
Right?
And styles make fights, right? Maybe Ryder's style matchup against Canelo. I'm not ready to say he's washed up yet, not till after this fight.
Well, I mean, that's the only X factor that's going against him in this fight, right? And in my opinion, Canelo is very dangerous right now because he keeps telling everybody, he's admitting, I wasn't at my best. Canelo coming in the way he is very frightening, because if he wasn't at his best, now he's angry, and that's going to, spell trouble for Charlo if that's the case. He's,
like I said in the first one, he's a lot more motivated this time. This undisputed versus undisputed. John Ryder, he's not a big name. He wasn't that excited for it. He was fighting in Mexico. I get that. This is different. This is in Vegas. This is undisputed versus undisputed. They're both the same age. Age is not a factor. Yes, Canelo's got more miles in the body, but he's been in the championship fights. Charlo hasn't been in there with nearly the same caliber of fighters as Canelo has. So that's an advantage, experience, and Canelo's got a better gas tank. Doesn't
No,
pace himself. Except for the last fight, the majority, he's got a pretty good gas tank.
yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. So the X factor for Charlo would be 168. Really, that's it. That sums it up. Will his power translate at 168? And if it does translate, it'll probably be better, stronger, heavier.
Yeah.
I guess it's the gas tank, really, what it comes down to. Is that extra 14 pounds, is that gonna, be a factor in the later rounds and what have you? If it's the case, then I could see Canelo, finishing the fight TKO. Even a knockout. Here's the thing. I mean, that's not out of the question. Charlo has not felt that kind of power.
Oh, he hasn't.
Right?
Or that kind of skill or that kind of experience. Like Canelo's an all-time great.
Yeah.
So
for 33 going into his this would be like almost his
64, 65 or something like that.
65th fight, right? At 33. So I mean, okay, we got 25 seconds, man. Who do you got? How and when?
I got Canelo by the 10th round, between round 10 and 11, referee stoppage, TKO. Canelo, all-time great. Charlo he's a great fighter, but Canelo's better.
Okay. With not knowing what Charlo is in that ring, I have to go with Canelo in decision.
Who do you want to win?
I want Canelo to win.
Me too. I don't say that very often. I've been hard on him.
I don't, because I'm looking at the bigger picture, and that bigger picture just looks a bit more exciting with Canelo as champion.
I'll be honest, I don't like the Charlo brothers. I don't like how they conduct themselves. I don't really care for their character. Amazing fighters. Some of the stunts they do and the way they act, just not a fan of it.
Well, I tell you what, man, I'll say this. I talked to Cowboy recently, and we were just chatting, and the Charlo brothers came up. I asked him, what do you think of this fight? And he said, man, I tell you what, I know those guys better than anyone. I've known them since, back in the day. And he said they are good guys, but they, like you said, they grew up in the legit, projects and whatnot. Like they are legitimately products of that environment. So that's
what I would say to counter that with Cowboy. Maybe they are great guys to you, but we've also had, I won't name any names, we've also had numerous boxers on the show who will tell you Mayweather's a great guy. But the men that beat up women, are they great guys? No. You know what I'm saying?
No. I understand that. No, I get that, right?
So harsh, but I have to be honest.
No, I get it, man, and I know, I will never mute you or stop you from speaking the truth on that, man. And I mean, we're both in agreement. That's just
I gotta bring the facts, right? But
I think it's worse when you're a combat athlete and you do that. You're trained.
Absolutely, your hands are weapons.
You're trained to hit, right? I mean, it doesn't condone. I don't condone it to anyone, to any way or any form, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, even women beating up men, that's wrong. But we're not allowed to.
I try to keep my personal opinion of the fighters outside of the ring away. But when a guy's hitting on a woman or something, I have to say it, right? You have to. It'll be disingenuous if I didn't.
No, fair play, brother. Fair play. All right, I tell you what, this undercard is a lot of fun too, man. We got Jesus Ramos on here. The co-main event, I guess, is it Barrios and
Ugas? Yeah,
Ugas. I'm interested in that one.
For the intern title.
That's really interesting because you got a guy like Ugas who's, is it fair to say he's the gatekeeper now?
Yeah, you could say that.
So he's the gatekeeper of that division. So I mean, Barrios, I mean, he hasn't he won his last fight, but he hasn't been looking great per se, right?
Well, we know he hasn't looked that great, but you know who Barrios KO'd, obviously, our good friend. We don't want to mention his name, but then he lost 2 fights in order. Tank Davis, Keith Thurman. He won his last fight, so Barrios is hungry here. He wants to get back into the title picture.
Well, right? That's it, right? I mean, so the jump up to 140. Where is he?
147.
Yeah, 147. From 140. So let's hope, right? Like now he's kind of found his groove. Let's see what he does. But I mean, nothing against Ugas. I like him a lot, but I kind of hope Barrios wins. He's a younger guy. He's a guy who has a little bit more in front of him. So like to have.
I like Ugas. I like him. I like his character. He's a good fighter, good tough Cuban fighter. He's a slight favorite in the fight. I'm cheering for Ugas myself. I mean, I don't really have a horse in the race, so I'd like to see Ugas win this because even though he beat my favorite fighter by decision, but
I mean, Ugas. This is Ugas's first fight since Earl broke his face, right?
Yeah, broken orbital bone. So we don't
Yeah.
know how well his eyes healed. So Barrios is going to attack that. He's already said that.
Yeah.
There's no bad blood in this fight. They both have a lot of respect for each other. Barrios even said he's a great human fighter. I respect him. Barrios even said, I hope he's a better version of himself even after he fought Errol Spence. I want him to come fast and slick, and it's going to be a good fight. I think you lost by decision, but who knows? Barrios is hungry too.
Let's find out, man. That's why we tune in to watch these beautiful fights. You know what? We got to hit on this, man. Zhang knocking out Joyce.
Dude, that's it. He just that was a heavy hit, man. I mean, Joyce is, I don't know what to say. They shouldn't even have the rematch, but they did. And Zhang looks good, man. I mean, he's going to get a fight, a Wilder or a Joshua or a Fury. He deserves one of those guys. Maybe Andy Ruiz.
I mean, if Andy's looking for a fight this guy.
Yeah. I mean, Zhang's slow, but he hit hard, right?
Dude, it was a boring. Like, I was watching that fight. Like, I rushed home because I was out all day Saturday. And by the time I came home, settled in, I put it on. I'm watching it. I'm like, man, these guys look like it wasn't pretty to watch. Like their skill, their technique.
Just two big, slow sluggers.
Yeah, like I get it, precision. Like Zhang is very precision, right? Like the guy is an amazing shot, right? But just the stance and just the way they have their hands up, I just like, this isn't nice. This isn't pretty to watch at all. But I mean,
the whole card, I watched the two fights card. It wasn't the most exciting card, but there's so many boxing events. Not every, like I said about wrestling, not every card can be lights out action. But Zhang was a heavy hit. He put him down, and Joyce.
Well, I tell you what, man, I mean, right now, it's showtime. They're putting on the best cards. We have some information about another card that's coming down the road. Like, I mean, just the stuff that's coming up, it's just insane. So Showtime's doing it this year, man. I mean, if the year-end award has to go to Showtime, there's just right now, I would give it to them. You?
I mean, I guess right now we'll see what Top Rank can do at the end of the year here. They got a lot of good fighters. They're just not putting it together.
Well, we're looking at the cards. Most of the
we got to count Top Rank, I guess, technically has their hand in the Fury Nagano fight. That might be the biggest.
I get it. But I mean, overall cards, like you think about it, like, look, most of the schedule is already made up for the year, for the rest of the year. There's maybe a handful of fights that we might still find out about, but for the most part, every card is set up until December. In fact, right. And just looking at what's out there and what Top Rank is putting out, what they're putting out, and what DAZN is putting out right now, Top Rank, I mean, you just give them the award now. There's no one who's going to touch them this year. I mean, yeah, the Francis Ngannou fight, whatnot, but the only problem with that, man, it's at 1 p.m.
I know. We'll see how that draws.
Right. All right, brother Matt, do you have anything on this day or in this week in boxing history?
I do. We're going to go back to 1986 when I was only 4 years old. Hector Macho Camacho. That's a great name. It just sounds good. It just rhymes good. Tough fighter, cool guy. Defended his WBC lightweight title against the one and only Cornelius Boza Edwards in Miami. He knocked him down a few times. Camacho, he got back up, Edwards, and then Camacho won a decision. He was frustrated. Yeah, 37 years ago this week.
Yeah. And Hector's last match was against Chavez Sr. Remember? Yep. And they got mad. They want to take off the headgear and fight.
But, yeah. I like Hector Camacho, man. He's a cool guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Camacho got the decision, but he was frustrated. They call it a frustrating decision because he knocked him down a couple of times. Edwards got back up, held his own, and Camacho still won. But cool name, cool guy, great fighter.
All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap it up here. So yeah, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy this fight, guys. If you're gonna go to the bar, if you're gonna have a house party for this or whatever you want to do, please, if you're at home, make sure you take all your buddies' keys and just lay out some sheets or something, let them sleep there, whatever the case may be. If you're at a bar, get a cab home, just go home and be safe. And yeah, we want you back in one piece with your families and everything else, right? Boxing is great. Everything is fun. Drinking is fun, I guess. I don't know. But at the end of the day, whatever it is, just enjoy, have fun, but just be safe. That's all we ask, man. Be safe.
Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Absolutely, brother, man. Best way said. Love it. All right, guys. Yeah. Everyone, be blessed. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the fights. We are going to enjoy the fights. I want to say something, but I'm not sure yet. But chances are you might be able to find us online the day of the fight, the night of the fight, during the fight. So,
Yeah.
you know,
We'll be adding some content fight night. We don't know what it will contain, but we will be doing some hits, maybe some live. We don't know. But
yeah, we're figuring
stuff.
it out. So we'll keep you posted on that. So join us for that. And yeah, that's basically it. My name is Bobby Sampson. He's Mr. Chance Michaels.
In the words of the great ACDC, those that download, subscribe, and like the podcast and buy the Canelo Charlo fight, we salute you.
We do salute you. And in the words of Ed Whalen, dude, I gotta find a boxing guy commentator who has a good ending clothesline. But we'll use Ed Whalen for now. So in the meantime and in between times, that's it for Samp and Chance. Thank you guys for joining us. And thank you for letting us into your ears.